Hello, my name is Fadil Sadi. I'm a graduate student at Caltech and a member of the Heterogeneous Catalysis team at the Joint Center for Artificial Photosynthesis, or JCAP. The focus of our team's research is twofold: the discovery of selective, active, and stable electrocatalysts for solar fuel generation, and the surface science of catalysis. Essential to our mission in the project is the understanding of the dependence of catalytic function on structure and composition. The Electrochemical Surface Science Laboratory was established with state-of-the-art instrumentation and developed in combination with theoretical methods to investigate how various properties of catalysts can influence the generation of fuels from carbon dioxide and water. To learn more about the activities of the Heterogeneous Catalysis Project, stay tuned for a technical presentation by Jack Barraquatro and Kyle Cummins.
Hi, I'm Jack Barraquatro, a staff scientist at the Joint Center for Artificial Photosynthesis, or JCAP. This is one of several presentations detailing our research in heterogeneous catalysis. Described in this presentation are two major efforts of the Heterogeneous Catalysis Project at Caltech, namely, catalyst discovery and the surface science of catalysts relevant to the creation of a solar fuel device. The first portion of this presentation deals with selected case studies of our discovery efforts. The second portion takes a quick look at the surface science instrumentation available at JCAP. The Heterogeneous Catalysis Project gathers together electrochemists, surface scientists, postdoctoral research scholars, and graduate students in the fields of chemistry, chemical engineering, material science, and theoretical calculations. At Caltech, the project leadership is shared by Professor John Heminger of the University of California, Irvine, and Professor Manuel Soriaga, a visiting professor from Texas A&M University. We also have active partnerships with various user facilities and national laboratories of the Department of Energy. You will hear more of these collaborations in future presentations. A crucial guide in the discovery of Earth-abundant heterogeneous catalysts for solar fuel generation is a clear understanding of the relationship between the activity of a catalyst and its structure and composition. Such relationships can only be unambiguously determined when tools and techniques are specifically designed to allow atomic-level studies before, during, and after the reaction. Theoretical models are then created to aid in the interpretation of experimental results. In short, this protocol involves the preparation and detailed examination of model systems as the requisite prelude to investigation of real-world electrocatalysts. The project is now searching for active, selective, and stable catalysts for three reactions of interest. The first reaction is the oxygen evolution reaction, or OER, of water. The other two reactions generate the fuel of choice, either hydrogen gas from the hydrogen evolution reaction, or HER, or carbon-based fuels, such as formic acid, formaldehyde, methanol, and methane, to name a few, from the carbon dioxide reduction reactions, or CO2RR. Coupling together OER and HER gives rise to water splitting, forming oxygen and hydrogen. The paramount challenge is coupling together OER and CO2RR, whose overall reaction constitutes part of the promise of artificial photosynthesis. Let's first take a look at HER, the simplest of the three reactions. Two reaction mechanisms are generally accepted, both of which feature chemisorbed atomic hydrogen as a critical intermediate prior to the release of hydrogen gas. These mechanisms remind us that the electrocatalysis of HER, as well as that of OER and CO2RR, is a surface phenomenon, whereby the slowest step involves the interaction with surface-bound species. One experimental figure of merit in assessing catalytic activity is overpotential. At JCAP, Overpotential is operationally defined as the difference between the thermodynamic potential and the potential needed to sustain a current density of 10 milliamps per square centimeter of geometric area. This current density is the expected value for a 10% efficient device that converts solar energy to fuel. The best known catalysts for HER are precious metals, like platinum and iridium, but the high cost of these materials prohibits their wide-scale deployment. Highlighted in the next 3 slides are recent advances in JCAP's search for Earth-abundant HER catalysts. One approach to the discovery of new HER catalysts is hinged on the hypothesis that HER shares similar reaction intermediates with hydrodesulfurization, or HDS, a catalytic reaction that has been vigorously investigated in the petroleum industry. Surface science studies of HDS catalysts, like molybdenum sulfide, have unveiled the catalytic role of coordinatively unsaturated edge sites on these layered materials. From a family of related metal chalcogenides, JCAP has produced HER catalysts that are both active and stable in 1 molar sulfuric acid. A quick inspection of the voltammograms for different metal selenides reveals an improvement in overpotentials, from 350 millivolts for tungsten selenide to 140 millivolts for cobalt selenide, needed to deliver the required current density of 10 milliamps per square centimeter. To determine the reaction pathways and barriers for HER on the molybdenum edge of MOS2, DFT quantum mechanics calculations have been performed. Results show that the HER mechanism on MOS2 follows the Folmer-Herabsky mechanism. Highlighted in red is the pathway leading to the formation of an electron-rich molybdenum hydride that reacts with a hydronium cation. In the present case, the sulfur hydrogen species is found not to be an important intermediate since its free energy does not play a direct role in determining the effective activation barrier. Instead of equilibrium thermodynamics, kinetic barrier is proposed to be the descriptor for reactivity when designing more reactive catalysts from edge-exposed MOS2. Further dramatic reduction in the HER overpotential has been achieved with transition metal phosphides. Nanoparticles of cobalt, manganese, and iron phosphide are now capable of sustaining 10 milliamps per square centimeter at overpotentials below 100 millivolts. This remarkable performance has stimulated further interfacial characterization of these materials in preparation for their integration to a scalable solar fuel device. Let's move on to the second reaction of interest, the oxygen evolution reaction, or OER. The reaction mechanism of OER in heterogeneous catalysis is not yet fully elucidated, although theoretical calculations suggest the participation of surface intermediates like chemisorbed oxide and oxyhydroxide as precursory states to oxygen evolution. Volcano-like plots are often generated as a demonstration of the Sabatier principle, which stipulates that an effective catalyst is one that provides a surface whose interaction with critical intermediates is strong enough to convert them into products, and yet weak enough to liberate them from the surface. The best catalysts, which are found at the apex of these plots, are oxides of precious metals. Only iridium oxide and ruthenium oxide are stable in acid. Thus, the need to discover Earth-abundant OER catalysts, perhaps in the form of ternary and higher-order alloys, remains a challenge. A promising candidate for acid-stable OER catalysts is the oxynitride of transition metals. The lack of atomic-level information in these materials underscores the need for careful experiments that use well-defined single crystals so that experimental results can be readily modeled by theory for predictive and diagnostic purposes. At present, JCAP is transforming well-established ex situ techniques like Raman spectroscopy and X-ray photoelectron spectroscopy into operando methodologies to generate data that can guide theoretical calculations on the OER mechanism of these materials. Another exciting OER catalyst under investigation is inspired from the heteroatomic manganese complex of photosystem 2 in nature. Bernesite, a layered polymorph of defect-laden manganese dioxide, structurally and compositionally resembles nature's oxygen evolving complex, thereby offering a versatile motif in the search for multinuclear OER catalysts. Strategically intercalated samples of synthetic bernesite can now be prepared using a facile electrodeposition process that reduces the conventional preparation time from 3 days to a matter of minutes. The final reaction of interest in this part of the presentation is CO2RR, the carbon dioxide reduction reactions. At sufficiently negative potentials, metal electrodes can be categorized as those that produce formate, carbon monoxide, and hydrogen. Polycrystalline copper stands out as the singular metal that can produce hydrocarbons and alcohols. However, as the Faradaic efficiencies would show at the given potential, both the selectivity and the reactivity of polycrystalline copper toward C2 and C3 products are dismally poor. The fact that 16 reduction products have been detected so far in both the liquid and gaseous phases suggests the complexity of CO2RR in copper. To understand the reaction mechanism of CO2RR, copper electrodes were exposed separately to carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, and formaldehyde prior to the electrochemical reduction in a solution that only contains 0.1 molar potassium bicarbonate. Differential electrochemical mass spectrometry, or DEMS, provides operando analysis of gaseous and volatile products during an electrochemical scan. Results show that the initial decrease of HER current during CO2RR is not due to CO poisoning because the same current drop is also observed from pre-adsorbed formaldehyde where CO is not a reduction product. CO is the first product of CO2 reduction, as well as the first intermediate in succeeding reactions that include the formation of oxygenated hydrocarbons. The study also reveals that formaldehyde is not a precursor for the formation of carbon double bonds, but is an intermediate for methane and ethanol formation. These two products may be generated from the adsorbed carbon monoxide, but with a higher activation barrier. For such case, two pathways are possible. One requires a theoretically postulated surface species, which consists of carbon monoxide protonated on the carbon atom, and the other involves adsorbed formaldehyde, which is formed after the rate-limiting protonation step. This concludes the first portion of the presentation. Stay tuned for an overview of the surface science instrumentation of the Heterogeneous Catalysis project at Caltech.
Hi, I'm Kyle Cummins, a postdoc at JCAP. In this portion of the video presentation, I will be providing an overview of the instrumentation located in Jorgensen Laboratories, as well as our partner institutions, which the Heterogeneous Catalysis project uses to conduct detailed surface science studies and routine characterization. The goal of our surface science efforts is to draw relationships between the structure, composition, and reactivity of catalysts of interest. Our strategic approach is to use as many complementary surface-sensitive analytical techniques as possible to uncover these relationships. These techniques may be employed under a variety of atmospheric conditions. Going from conditions which are far removed from the catalytic state towards exact operational conditions, these analyses may be performed ex situ, in situ, or operando. An example of the dependence of catalytic function on surface structure is given by the reduction of carbon dioxide on copper. A copper surface that nominally exhibits a mixture of atomic regions possessing hexagonal and square orientations was observed to reduce CO2 to the same reaction products as a monocrystalline surface exhibiting square domains only. This phenomenon cannot be explained by surface composition alone. Operando measurements conducted on the mixed, or polycrystalline surface show that under reaction conditions the surface is reconstructed naturally to the monocrystalline 1-0-0 arrangement. The importance of surface composition is highlighted on the right by the high yield of hydrocarbons by copper versus other transition metals. To uncover the dependence of catalytic function on structure and composition, our analysis is restricted to the surface and near-surface region by employing electrons and photons of low energy. The particles used exhibit short and elastic mean-free paths in their interaction with solids, and as a result do not penetrate into the bulk. A short list of the techniques which we employ shows that we can gather complementary information regarding the long-range surface crystallinity, surface add-atom bonding, surface elemental composition, atomic valency, fundamental physical properties, and microscopic structure. These techniques used in conjunction with electrochemistry form the foundation upon which an atomic level description of observed catalytic phenomena can be developed. For those techniques which must be performed ex situ, we have expanding capabilities to perform corroborating in situ and operando interrogations to explain observed catalysis. This is demonstrated by the results shown here. In this example, differential electrochemical mass spectrometry, or DEMS, is used to combine voltammetry with mass spectrometry. DEMS has the unique ability to provide online and real-time product identification of volatile CO2 reduction products. The product distribution can be expressed as a function of applied potential to the copper electrode. A direct atomic level image may then be obtained under solution in an electrochemical cell at an individual applied potential under constant potential control. For model systems, the same electrode may be removed from the electrochemical cell at that potential and interrogated in vacuum conditions by surface-sensitive spectroscopies. The usefulness and versatility of this approach can be noted by the variety of solution and atmospheric conditions spanning nearly 12 orders of magnitude in pressure. Exhaustive interrogation at all three levels may be conducted by further combining additional microscopic, spectroscopic, and vacuum-based surface analytical tools located in the Jorgensen laboratories at Caltech. The combination of a multitude of analytical techniques allows us to explain catalytic function in terms of surface chemistry. This approach sometimes leads to explanations which were unexpected and would not have been otherwise discovered. One such set of results is the dramatic surface enrichment of a single component in a metal alloy as revealed by the application of low-energy ion scattering spectroscopy. In this technique, inert gas ions are scattered from surface atoms with a scattered energy that is dependent upon the identity of the surface atom. By analyzing the scattered ions, the identity and relative fractions of the topmost atoms present can be deduced. This topmost atom sensitivity is due, in part, to shadowing of subsurface atoms by the topmost atoms. In this example, the surface atomic fraction of molybdenum was compared with that of the bulk. If the surface behaved as a bulk truncated plane, then the surface fraction of molybdenum would be expected to follow the black 1-to-1 line. Surface quantitation by X-ray photoelectron spectroscopy indicated this was the case. However, the molybdenum fraction was further quantitated by the more surface-sensitive ion scattering technique and the catalyst surface was observed to be highly enriched in molybdenum relative to the bulk. By employing as many surface-sensitive techniques as possible, trends can be revealed that might otherwise go undetected. Located in our labs is a purpose-built, custom-designed, tandem electrochemistry surface science apparatus. Housed within the ultra-high vacuum analytical chamber of this apparatus are a number of surface analytical techniques, including X-ray photoelectron spectroscopy, low-energy ion scattering spectroscopy, temperature-programmed desorption, Auger electron spectroscopy, low-energy electron diffraction, and high-resolution electron energy loss spectroscopy. In this apparatus, a hermetically sealed vacuum chamber has been designed to accept an electrochemical cell. This electrochemistry chamber is attached to a gate valve isolable central distribution chamber, which is interfaced with a surface analytical chamber and a thin film deposition and surface process chamber with mechanical transfer mechanisms designed to perform sample handoff between chambers. A typical experiment may start with the catalyst preparation via the deposition chamber, followed by transfer into the distribution chamber. The catalyst is then transferred to the surface analysis chamber for initial state characterization of the surface prior to electrocatalysis. The sample is later moved to the electrochemistry chamber for catalysis-related electrochemical experiments. At selected stages of the reaction, the electrode is removed from solution under potential control in a process called immersion. The electrode is returned to the analysis chamber to scrutinize for any reaction-induced changes in the surface structure and composition. This analysis-catalysis-analysis iteration is repeated quite a few times to establish important relationships between the various interfacial parameters. Nowhere in the experimental protocol is the sample exposed to uncontrolled environments such as air. In this video presentation, we have described the two major efforts of the Heterogeneous Catalysis project at Caltech: catalyst discovery and the surface science of catalysts relevant to the creation of a solar fuel device. The first half examines selected case studies of our discovery effort and outlined how we apply surface science to aid in this discovery and explain the resulting chemistry. The second half examined the highly tailored instrumentation capabilities we have developed to facilitate our surface science approach. For more detailed information regarding the activities of our project, please refer to individual publications given here. In an upcoming presentation, members of the Heterogeneous Catalysis project will detail additional in situ and operando synchrotron-based capabilities located at the Advanced Light Source and Stanford Linear Accelerator. I would like to acknowledge and thank all researchers of the Heterogeneous Catalysis project and the Joint Center for Artificial Photosynthesis. This work was supported by the Department of Energy, Basic Energy Sciences.